In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my take on whether or not you need to get right with yourself prior to getting into a relationship. Who am I to talk about this topic? I'm Coach Paula Grooms, a dating and relationship coach, licensed social worker, and author of the book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. A lot of women talk to me about this because it's a question that is valid, and it's out there in our society a lot about you really have to bring your best self to a relationship or the relationship will not work. Well, there's a degree of efficacy in that statement, of course, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a different take on it, and I'll tell you why as we get into this video. I think there are really two states of being that someone says this to me in, meaning that either they are not in a relationship, and there's probably a number of reasons for that, and there may be one reason is that they're using it as an excuse not to be in one, that I have to get right with myself first. That could be suggested by insight of the person, like there's really something going on with me, I haven't figured it out. Until I do figure it out, I don't want to get into a relationship because it will go awry. Well, there's validity to that, but again, I'm going to give you my take on it after this little bit of preamble. So the other thing is that, or the other state of being someone might be in, is that they have just gotten out of a relationship and they believe it is their fault that the relationship ended, or they know as a woman they didn't do really the quote-unquote proper things that could keep a relationship afloat, or their self-esteem is kind of in the crapper, so to speak, and so they think I need to work on myself, knowing that they need to bolster their self-concept. Okay, so here is how I work with this in order to get women what they desire, what they deserve. Let's face it, when someone says, I need to get right with myself before I get into a relationship, if they meet that guy that floats their boat, it's really going to be tough not to go forward with it if the guy wants to go forward with it. So most of the time, any woman saying this to me who's in a relationship, well, she's not going to get out of it to get right with herself, right? It just doesn't really work like that for us as human beings. Our heart is involved. So here's how I work, because it's so important to work through the issues with yourself through a relationship. And there's really no better way to do that. In my book, I have found that doing the work in this way that I do, which I use a two-pronged approach, meaning I work under two umbrellas, and both of those together allows for the woman to be working on herself while in a relationship. Because again, if you're already in one and you feel I'm getting some insight here that things aren't really right with me, and nothing will do it like a relationship, because we're mirrored with people with whom we're having relationships. Our experience drives the knowledge, so to speak. In other words, if we were out there in the world by ourselves, completely by ourselves, we're on a deserted island with no one else, are we really thinking about getting right with ourselves? No, of course, in that scenario, we're thinking about survival. But the point is that if we're alone or without people interacting with us, we really don't know that there's a need to get right with ourselves. Nothing will point things out to us like being in a partnered romantic situation, dating even, that there's something we need to work on. The work that I do in my coaching, I say to all the women in my program all the time, and we talk about it, the work is always about us. It's always first and foremost about us, getting right with ourselves through the relationship that we are in, and then that relationship can thrive to the greatest degree possible. So these two umbrellas, what are they? The first is, what's in my book? Working with the concepts related to how we deal with men, the male mind, and all that I talk about here on this channel a lot. The second is under the Neville Goddard approach to manifesting and working with a little bit of psychological concepts, everything that is available to us in the world to help deal with the issue at hand for ourselves. So when you put those two together, and when you are working with a professional in a coaching program, in a counseling setting, you are being shed a light objectively from that person's perspective on whatever's going on with you. And that's what I do in my program with women. So it's a fascinating world that I'm in. I'm so lucky to be able to work with women in the way that I do, because the women I work with really are working on themselves so that they can bring their best self to this relationship. These two things come together in doing the behaviors that are going to work with the male being, who, however that male is. In other words, there is never a one-size-fits-all. I mean, the relationships that I'm helping women create and take to commitment are complex. There's no simple one-size-fits-all answer to everything, because the man in question is unique. The woman is unique. And he may be a prospective buyer. He may be an ultimate consumer. He may be high on the scale of narcissism. He may be low on that scale and not have a high concept. Let's talk about self-concept. That's one of the main things that manifesting work works on. Yes, believe it or not, it works on self-concept in a very unique way that is actually enjoyable. It's about getting what we want, but when we are secure in the fact of knowing what we want, we better work on ourselves in terms of, in a better fashion, we work on ourselves. There's so much context here. And, in working with people, I do in programs whereby we have a set goal, which is about getting a relationship to the point of a commitment. However, it's not a linear thing. It's not like, okay, we start here and then it absolutely goes to here in a straight fashion. No, there are always ups and downs. And it's how we handle the ups and downs, the curveballs that are thrown to us. And when we know what works best with men, we have a high self-concept, we can do this. We are working through the relationship, even dating, and we are then learning about ourselves, working through whatever's going on in the outside world to get insight, and that is working on ourselves. So if you have questions about this, I hope you'll put them in the chat, because there's so much, as I said, out there that I've had many women come to me with very negative relationship issues. I mean, really fraught with a lot of dysfunction, or even what we could really consider somewhat of abuse coming from the male. And then the woman takes it all on herself and saying, I've got to go to counseling, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. The only thing she has to realize is that she's accepting this behavior from a man. We have to get to the why of it. once we get to the why and set about changing the subconscious programming that you work with in manifesting, and then you do the behaviors that are going to be concurrent for the man to show that I'm no longer going to be accepting, it's golden. So if you feel, okay, I need to take the counseling route just because I need to talk just about my stuff, that's what counseling is. If you're ready to actually address the issues in a very concrete behavioral fashion, then this type of coaching might be for you, or any coaching really, because whether it's about business, whether it's about fitness, whether it's about health, whether it's about finances, coaching is about solutions and getting to what works. In the process, you are working on yourself always. Always. And every day in life we are. And if we come from that mindset that whatever I'm doing, I'm becoming, I am growing, I am learning, I am, and whatever you put after that, you become. This is significant. And if you are ready to say, I am a secure, confident, and capable woman of being in a relationship, and then you set about doing what is going to be best in terms of your behaviors, it's a winning formula to help you get right with yourself. So if you want more on my coaching and want to talk to me, you can talk to me in my podcast, virtually for free. It's all anonymous. It's only audio. Or you can talk to me in a consultation. You can also, if you're dating and you're ready, you feel you're ready to date in a fashion that's going to take you to the next level, then think about doing my One Love self-help course. And then you will be talking to me whenever it is that's going to be right for you. And no excuses. No excuses. Get what it is you desire and deserve by taking action. This is what coaching is all about. I hope to help you with that. And until next time, with any man in your life, you've got to make him wonder, but you don't have to wonder anymore about getting right with yourself first. You can get right with yourself through any relationship that might be just starting, in the middle of, or for sure if you feel that it's going off the rails. I will talk to you then. I trust you got a lot of good information from today's video, and I enjoy bringing you content that is valuable for success in your romantic life. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the alert bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you want more on any of the content you see here, you can go to my book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. You can order it at any fine retailer where you get your books. And if you want more on me or any of my programs, my podcast, go to CoachPaulagrooms.com, and we could be talking soon.